take 2 prizes, like we mentioned.
So they went into overtime. The reason why the clock stopped. They each get 3 turns. The one with the less prizes wins.
And the game is over.
Yeah, Daniel Lynch ahead on prizes here in the top 4. The round has gone to time, and this is going to be the final turn of this game.
Yeah, turn 2 here for Nicholas. So this is Nicholas's last opportunity, and I think Nicholas is potentially seeing the writing on the wall here, saying, I don't even know if I have a play that is available to me, is going to scoop it up. And Daniel Lynch gets the win, moves on to the grand finals here in Salt Lake City.
Grand finals achieved. What a momentous occasion with such an interesting deck. A player known for their meta innovations and getting rewarded here, going up to the grand finals at Salt Lake City. What an excellent showcase here.
He's so cool, man.
Play from Daniel. Congratulations, of course, to Nicholas. Incredible run throughout the event.
Didn't this happen top 4?
That's 2.
Double Gengar VMAX in the prizes for Drew there.
They're at the top, too.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Take from the top.
Alright.
It's so simple.
Well, we'll see if the read is made by Andrew. He is going to have his work cut out for him here, and he doesn't even get to start this thing off. It looks like we are going to start things with Daniel and his Suicune.
Master Finals.
A pretty intense first couple turns. Suicune is
This
all
is
about
it.
getting those Sobble down in play just so you can enable your entire deck later on. As of right now, that one fleet footing, you do have a quick ball, see a level ball as well, so that's all you really need.
Yep, definitely off to a solid start here. Just get a little bit of those basics down. You don't really need to ask for very much here on this opening turn, and you're kind of just waiting to see what pace of play Andrew's going to provide, and then that really sets the tone for how this deck is going to combat that.
Again, just checking through the deck, making sure what is prized. You don't want to go searching for a card with a really important shady feelings and all of a sudden, oh no, I guess I can't.
Yeah, we've seen that once or twice on stream. It is painful.
And looking at Andrew's hand, does have a double turbo energy, maybe a supporter like that Marnie, see a boss's order, so needs a little bit of help, but as of right now, Daniel's hand's pretty good.
Yeah, we see Drizzile, Ultra Ball looks like another ball as well, so certainly should be able to get at least 2 to 3 Pokemon onto the bench here. We'll have the Drizzile for some follow-up on the next turn, and that could certainly lead to some fireworks, just depending on what speed Daniel really needs to take this.
Yeah, even with the Ultra Ball in hand as well, I don't know if you really want to discard all those cards just yet, so we may just see an attachment pass
So
will
we
return.
turn evolution instance too. Yeah, this is very strong.
Again, just weighing the options. I think he is done for this turn at least. You can save that Ultra Ball for something later. Maybe if you have some other cards you don't mind discarding.
So we saw the energy is in the discard pile. There's multiple energies in the hand too. You can certainly see an attachment.
And with that, Daniel's turn is now over, and Drew top decks an Ultra Ball. That's not bad. That can get another V Pokemon to charge up.
It's also going to let him see his deck.
Oh yeah, that's going to be the hard part.
You know, most people like to look through their deck. I don't know if Andrew's going to want to remember this one.
Shield your eyes. This is not going to be pretty. Eyes down the Bidoof there, and oh, please look through the rest of your deck. No, Drew. Oh, he does this all the time.
I was also going to speak to the ordering too, because you saw not only the Gengar down and the attachment, so then you use the Ultra Balls. I'd like to know everything that's going on before I get into this.
Listen, he's told me multiple times that it just doesn't matter. He doesn't really need to look. If it's prize, it's prize. He doesn't really need to know.
I either get it or I don't. Well, let's see if he can get it off of Marnie. He's going to be looking for a few more pieces here. Of course, finding that Bidoof is very important. That means that the Vibraroll later is going to be able to draw some cards, but none of those are ever going to be Gengar VMAX.
It was a pretty great Marnie putting back the Pokemon Surge that was in Finn's hand from last turn. Now to the bottom of the deck, we'll need to find another way to get a Drizzile out.
Certainly should be expecting some energy acceleration here. Gengar looking like a nice target, or how about an Arceus V?
Well, I guess now when Drew looks through the deck, you're going to see no Gengar VMAX, and the Arceus will get charged up
No,
here.
hey, you could have all the dark energies near the top.
No. This is not what I want. Alright, just still blind to the Gengar VMAX being in the prize cards, but a pretty good turn one from Drew there. Has that Bidoof, so you can get that Bibarrel going next turn, barring a cross-switcher play from Daniel. One big thing that we haven't actually talked about in Andrew's list for this matchup in particular is the 2 collapse stadium.
Yeah.
And with Daniel not running any counter stadium, once that hits the board, it's going to be really hard to actually get those big knockouts without Ludicolo.
Absolutely, yeah. And if Daniel ever leaves damage on the board, we could see Andrew probably working something in where he removes a Pokemon and he can just clean that damage off himself.
Action is back on to Daniel. Has that Capacious Bucket for the 2 water energy, so we'll be able to attack this turn with that Suicune. But other than that, maybe a Melanie in hand, I think I saw.
We see the Lotad as well. So we'll have some additional play onto the bench here. We can start seeing the math work out. It looks like anything that it doesn't include a Ludicolo this turn would not
2
result in a
Tycoons.
knockout.
I mean, we've seen far worse from Daniel in these few games, but it is a tall task. Second Suicune V hits the bench. You have that second Lotad as well. But if you do that, Collapse Stadium comes down, there's 1 solvable in play.
Yep. Alright, here comes that Melanie. We're going to see that additional energy coming down from 3 extra cards for Daniel.
Really needing a second Sobble down just to be safe, but for right now, get some damage on the board. It's probably the best he can do.
Alright, we see that capture energy. That's going to be a nice addition as well. You get that energy attachment that you're looking for onto the Suicune. And you can also grab another basic Pokemon here, likely looking for a Sobble, just want to have additional resources there. You already have that Lotad threatening the potential Ludicolo on the follow-up.
And he's looking through the deck. Doesn't seem to like what he sees, but does find that second Sobble. Now 4 bench Pokemon in play. I have to wonder if it is the finals of this entire weekend-long tournament. You have to realize that my opponent's probably playing these collapse stadiums.
Oh yeah, well it's a beautiful thing being able to watch all of these games on stream, because if you don't have access to all those, but Daniel has a bunch of friends watching, so every time that Andrew gets onto the stream, they're like taking notes and figuring out everything that's possibly happening, and then they just bombard him with information. And I'm sure that's happening as well for Andrew on the other side.
Well, there is the attack from Suicune V, and it is 180 damage on that Arceus V. Pretty good, but not enough to take the knockout, and we're going to probably see a big Arceus V-Star from Andrew here.
Well, that all starts with an evolution incense that will be able to find that Arceus V-Star. Going to go ahead and evolve onto the bench. It's a lot cleaner.
Drew, look through your deck.
I mean, you have to at this point. V-Star, come on.
It is going to be a little bit rough, but I have to think you're going to find that collapse stadium at least. Knowing that it's going to stick in play, and wow, just the energy collapse stadium on the top. Okay, we're finally looking through. Or not. So with those grabs, Drew will be able to Trinity Nova with that bench Arceus V-Star with a retreat of the active. The one problem is you don't really have a good place to put those energies, but with a choice band in the hand, or choice belt in the hand, my apologies, we'll be able to take the knockout, and that's still a pretty big knockout.
No, yeah, this feels very good because you're getting the knockout here. You're going to limit the bench space too. The only issue is that you leave all this damage on an Arceus, but Daniel's list really isn't built to add extra damage onto Pokemon like that. So this all kind of works out, and if you're Andrew, you don't want to.
Well, he gonna retreat.
You need to currently.
There is the retreat, and that Arceus V-Star is powering up and ready to go. Collapse Stadium. You have to believe a Sobble is going to hit the discard.
Yeah. Daniel's throwing that fist against the table going, oh yeah, that's not good.
Oh no.
He's going to lose a Sobble for it. Hope the 20 extra damage on the Arceus V was worth it. And he also loses the Sweeping V.
Not looking through the deck. Gengar VMAX is in there somewhere, right?
Listen, at this point, just avoid tilt and never look all the way through. I'm cool with it.
I mean, that is his philosophy.
Just roll all the prizes and you'll figure it out.
Well, nothing was drawn from the top, so the Gengar are still hiding in there. And now it's back up to Daniel to see if he can get a return KO here. Does have that low tab to be able to evolve into the Ludicolo. Has the energy on the Sweeping V already. Need another bench Pokemon, and for me to do some math that I don't want to do right now.
All right, I'll do the math for you. So the biggest outs I believe is that you can get up to 7, 8 with the echoing if you can figure that out. I don't know if there's another Pokemon in the discard pile for Andrew, but I think that's the only possible way that would work out because then you get to that Ludicolo plus 100. 7 is 260. 8 would be.
I mean, these guys don't take no breaks. It's like once they defeat the other guy,
That would mean
it's on to the
pretty
next.
much everything has to go right for Daniel here to take this knockout. But if he does, in a very good position.
We also, I believe there's one choice.
Andrew has all the energy cards already on his card on Pokemon.
Use that out if
Daniel doesn't have none. I mean,
wasn't an option.
That is a good point. Well, here is start number 1. Melanie, get that energy on, draw 3 cards. There's the choice belt.
All right, so that definitely helps a ton here. Not having to worry about any of those weird plays. I believe we already saw another Pokemon too, so not have to worry about that what's going to fill that bench space. That has already been made. The Drizzile is down, the Sobble is there too, so we could see evolution of either one of those Pokemon to help out in finding that rare candy in Ludicolo. I believe we see one Cross Switcher, so that's going to be in the back of our mind too.
That is a pretty big hand, but not much actual resources I think you can use. Wow, yeah, you can't use anything in that hand. Stop. There's a low tab for that extra bench. You have that choice belt, but I don't see a Drizzile. Nothing really much to extend this turn.
I mean, how often does this happen? I feel like you never see this kind of turn from this deck. You always have a Drizzile, a Inteleon.
I mean, they get 50K.
For a hand of 7, 8 cards, after you're using your Suicune V's ability to just not land anything and having to attack or just bare bones into this Arceus V-Star, that has to hurt.
And this is the opening Andrew needed. He's able to take another knockout with this active Arceus V-Star, and from then we'll just need to set up a knockout on a remaining Suicune.
This deck plays Hyper Potion, and I believe we already see one in the discard pile, but just imagine if he's able to sneak that in as well. Because hitting the numbers, especially after you lose this next Suicune V, would be so detrimental.
Indeed, it would. You have that double turbo energy that you can attach to the active, but if you do, it still doesn't get rid of the knockout. So I think it's pretty safe, but only one Hyper Potion left in the deck. I think, yeah, you just go get the knockout. Don't be too greedy. Are you finally looking through the rest of your deck? Oh, Yeah.
He's got, well, I got 2 Gengar's prize, but I'm drawing 2 prize cards. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Nothing can go wrong. But wait.
You gotta be kidding me.
Oh, how does this happen twice?
Well, you know.
I mean, Daniel ain't got no energy, man.
Over
I
here.
mean,
How have I ever landed in a spot like this? Because this deck has been running like a well-oiled machine for so long, and here
he
he
has
is with
nothing to attack
Exile
with.
energy, and what in the world next?
Well, with the 160 on the Arceus V-Star, that does mean Aqua Bullet would be able to take the knockout on the active, put 20 on that benched Arceus V, then you're 20 away from taking the knockout.
Rapid
there.
strike on what he
Come
wants.
on, okay, so this is going to open up some avenues. Finally, going to be able to look in the deck, find an additional card, and we could likely see Shady Dealings and Talion here.
Do you know what's better than searching deck for one of any card?
3.
Andrew got
It
this.
does look like that Inteleon is most likely going to
I mean,
be the
Andrew
card of
just-
choice for Daniel here.
And
Got some heavy hitters, and he hasn't even, man.
Shuffles
Keeping
it
it
up for
close to
us.
the vest.
I mean, but Daniel's made it this far with his deck, so.
Well, 15 minutes into this grand finals here.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew already 4 prizes deep. Daniel trying to figure it out here. Has that Inteleon, I believe that
You're
was
gonna
the
need to
card.
figure it out.
But we also see Ultra Ball in that hand too. There's a lot more play than we thought he had, from at least from how the last turn went.
For sure, especially with the Shady Dealings being able to find 2 trainer cards.
See, Andrew, they thought that Gengar VMAX is what you needed, but he's doing fine without them.
And most likely, the Pokemon that's going to try to take a knockout on the active Inteleon would be an Arceus V-Star.
Okay, there's some absolute nastiness that could happen lining up with the Aqua Bullets. If the Aqua Bullets were to land onto the Arceus V twice, that would be a knockout, and then you could see Echoing Horn in combination with a Ludicolo to maybe bring up this Arceus V that's about to be knocked out, and you could see 4 prizes fall off the board just like that if we weren't to see the Arceus V-Star evolution on that damaged Arceus V right now.
The one problem is that does take a couple of turns to do. The Ludicolo only really works with Suicune. And so you still need to get all that powered up, but with the options that Daniel does have, it could be a route to victory.
Well, Daniel is working with only 4 bench spaces for probably the first time in a long time. And he's trying to figure out multiple Sobble and Lotad is going to be the call.
Again, you really just want to keep the stream going.
Oh, he's shuffling, trying to get a good card. That's what he's trying to do.
Your Pokemon every turn, just because with the way the format is, your Pokemon are going to get knocked out every turn if your opponent is getting set up. And there we see actually the Aqua Bullet taking the knockout and 20 on the benched Gengar.
Alright, gonna spread it around.
Now Drew has an option of what to bring up. Decides to go with the Gengar V here.
The Gengar.
With the Pain Explosion does have the knockout on Inteleon, which is pretty important.
It takes 3 damage counters as well in the process, and that might be relevant.
Yeah, that's not as good.
Right. What is he?
Raihan right back.
This is pretty important. Being able to get that third energy on the bench Arceus V and search for the V-Star if needed, or something like a Bidoof or a Bibarel.
Looks like eyeing up that Arceus V-Star. Another strong attacker. Avoid the knockout here on that.
I mean, I started collecting them.
Shenanigans.
On Fusion Strike, they got Evolving, Voltage, Evolution, Battle Styles.
It's just another attacker. Honestly, I really like if Drew
I haven't got all the
maybe
cards.
attack
They got all the
with
damn
that
cards, I mean.
V-Star and keep the Gengar charged up.
They
You
seen
know,
all the
one
good-
prize,
the good
only
items.
prizes are the Gengar VMAX, and that
Hyper
is
Potion?
one Pokemon
That
can
one's a
actually
good
take a big one-hit knockout on a Suicune, maybe even through something like a Cape of Toughness.
Yeah, and that's what you have to be thinking about at this stage of the game. We do know
You need
that
to look that one
Andrew
up,
is
Hyper Potion.
playing a tool scrapper, but I don't know if it's already hit the discard pile.
Oh, it's been in his hand for days.
Oh, then he's fine. Yeah, there it is, right there, that third card. So Andrew might be lined up really well for this. Gonna go ahead and just take the knockout here with the Gengar. 3 additional counters onto it, but hey, finally gets to see that Gengar VMAX.
Right.
That has to feel nice.
That is the one play against this deck that you can really do is just keep
He ain't
your
gonna-
hands
he ain't
soft.
got nothing to do.
As we've seen Drew not really
It's
play
over.
a lot of supporters throughout this game, has really just had everything or searched for it out and really just played the cards as they've fallen through, kept the massive advantage of the size in hand. It has the boss's orders, and with that will take his last prize card. Andrew Kennett is up 1-0 here in the first regionals we've had in over 2 years.
I'm trying to figure out how he keeps doing it, because these prize cards are the worst thing that I've seen for a long time. Maybe since Rowlets we're finding prize cards, because this is bad. And he just found a way. Just has a nice, strong strategy. Wanted to use that collapse stadium. Got that locked in, and we really just didn't see that big swing turn that we expected from Daniel. It just never really came through.
Yeah, and really it's just the collapsed stadium just put a ton of pressure, and limiting the bench space really just limits the options Daniel has throughout the game, and you really have to play perfectly to try to go about that. And if you don't have the cards drawn in the right kind of situation, you're just gonna kind of miss a turn of attacking, and we saw that there, and it just wasn't as good.
I need some scoop
Alright,
ups,
so what do you expect to see
switches,
differently from Daniel?
potions. I mean,
Drawing better cards.
Right.
It's the fact that you couldn't get those one-hit knockouts. Booty Golem never came down to the board, right? And you're attacking with Suicune for multiple turns, but you're just doing 160 damage, 180 damage. That's not enough to swing the match into your favor. You really just need to take those big knockouts. Force Drew to take a turn to set up another Arceus.
Yep, that's what we will be looking for here. Of course, plenty of time left in this finals for Daniel to figure it out. He could definitely take a game here and bring us to game 3, but we'll see what his hands are to start things off. Of course, we expect Daniel to be going first here in the second game.
Daniel does have a Sobble for his starter, so that is the ideal starter. Usually going second to get that keep calm going, but you don't have to commit.
Oh no, stop! Double Sobble, cross switcher, in one of the shady dealings. Plays 2.
I was going to say you don't have to commit Suicune to the board so early, but you might have to now with 2 Sobble getting prized.
That is tough. Yeah, we're going to see Lotats coming out in force here.
Drew finally does have a Pokemon, but it is that Gengar V, not the start you really hope for, but only playing 2 Arceus, you kind of have to expect it. And finally, some reasonable starters. With only 2 Arceus, you have that one in the prizes, only one available to you, and if it gets KO'd pretty early, that could be bad.
Yeah, we'll see if Gengar gets to show itself a little more in this matchup then. But first, over to Daniel.
Love of all to start things off, and this is where things get a little scary for Finnegan.
Yep, he's going to get the bad news. And it's not the worst news. You know you are going to be playing with 4 bench spaces anyways, but ideally you would have multiple Sobble just in case this one were to be knocked out, which was pretty early, which could happen realistically. Daniel is used to losing one of his single prizer Pokemon early, and then Suicune starts to get aggressive, so losing the Sobble early could be rough.
And I think that is the look of someone who knows they have 2 Sobble prized.
And my cross switcher, that's not good. Well, we don't have to worry about keep calling. He's going to go ahead and grab that Sobble right now. That will be
Is that a turn?
I don't see him. I see
nah, if this guy
energy.
pulls it off in this round, Gengar,
Put this in.
he in trouble.
Look like it.
Oh no.
Six-
Okay.
60 HP?
Is at least something here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that capture is going to be nice. Go ahead, find that Suicune V.
Could even possibly retreat into it, get the free draw this turn to find a Lotad, but it is staying a little bit, and if I don't know, looking at the list, Tree doesn't really have a good turn 1 attack other than just Trinity Charge, so it would be safe up there and active.
Yeah, it feels fine to do that. The only thing you might worry about is like escape
Hey,
rope.
retreat,
Then
nigga.
Drew's not really accomplished anything either. So go ahead, give yourself this extra card with the fleet-footed. See if you can find a Lotad. That'd be nice, but you see the rest of this hand. There's a Drizzile, there's a Melanie, there's an energy too. So Daniel will be able to manipulate this to get all of the energies onto the Suicune next turn.
The awkward part is there's no water energy in the discard, I believe. It's just the capture energy, so would need to find another Quick Ball to get that energy there, but Quick Ball found 4. Andrew start things off, discards the dark energy, finally searching through the deck.
You know, maybe it just took playing one nice game and realizing that your last 2 price cards were the Gengar VMAX to go, hey, you know, we've got time here. Let's slow things down. Information is your friend.
And that one Arceus V hits the bench, gonna get an energy attached to it, most likely if it's in the hand. Ooh, discards the Evolution Incense too, and a Boss's Orders. Those are 2 good cards for later on.
This is one thing that we do tend to see a lot from Andrew is going for that early Bidoof, being able to have access to that Bibarrel and drawing extra cards throughout this game is something that's very beneficial, and it's a great way to keep up with how many cards Daniel tends to see with his Inteleon setup.
Looks like energy, and then I think or Barney. Alright, so get a little disruption. That Drizzile goes to the bottom of the deck for Finn, and 5 new cards for Drew here.
Yep, and that was pretty nice.
Oh no.
Daniel did have a really strong hand before that, Marnie. Ooh, Collapse Stadium already down.
Cloud Stadium, but that hand is not good unless that's an Arceus V-Star I saw.
I think he's gonna make us wait till next turn to find out. Well,
Usually.
see a cross switcher on the other side, Candy, a Lotad, and a bunch of sadness. So time to fleet-foot it. Oh, stop. Yeah. Double Candy, Evolution Incense though, okay. So there is options for Shady Alien and Inteleon. Not the way you want to do this, but maybe the way you have to.
And there we see Evolution Incense, and probably that Inteleon is the best bet here. You use that candy out of your hand, get a couple more cards, maybe a Lotad, and a way to get a water energy in the discard.
Yeah, so often you don't want to skip the evolution line because you want to make use of that Drizzile, but in a situation like this, you gotta go.
Daniel is going for sure. Shady Dealings finds a Capacious Bucket, and a Melanie Bucket will grab 2 water energies, and then with a Quick Ball in hand, Finn will be able to discard the water. Melanie will be able to get the water onto the Suicune, and we have an attack for this turn at least.
Yep, that is going to be nice. Get some additional damage, well, any damage onto the board here to at least start to soften up that Gengar. And with how bleak Andrew's hand may have been, this could prove to be very helpful here, as Daniel is already down 1 game in the series.
Now with that Melanie in hand, we'll have the 2 energy attachments, draw some cards after the shuffle. I think also has the Scoop Up Net in hand.
Yep, we could see that as well. Don't want to use all of your rare candies early on, but it just depends on how this starts to work.
Well, there is a Lotad. That is a pretty important piece of the puzzle to get down, so you can activate those Ludicolo later on. Try to take down that Arceus V-Star.
Daniel's trying to line the math up right now. 6 Pokemon's going to bring him to 140 damage. So something's going to be sticking around for sure. Rare candy for next turn. Ooh, we see the level ball too, so Drizzile could come down into play.
Double Cross Stitcher. cross switcher in hand. And the scoop up net. We might see a cross switcher bring up either the Bidoof for the knockout or the Arceus to try to put some pressure there. Or just
Yeah, the Italian pickup feels fairly clean. You already have that Drizzile down, so you could get some play out of it. I believe he does have one in the prize card, so making multiple uses out of this Italian feels very strong. There's 140 damage from the Sweeping V. Blizzard Rondo.
oh yeah, Raihan off the top. This hand was so awkward without that Arceus V-Star, but thankfully for Andrew, had it in hand. Now gets the Starbirth and try to figure out a way from this hand, because double Hyper Potion, Tool Scrapper, Raihan, not really going to do much right now.
That is not what you want. So many situational cards here, and instead it's going to just have to eye up some possible way to.
GX is gone, now they got
It's
V-Star.
definitely Switch and Turbo. But what does that do for your
Hyper
hands this turn? You're not getting anywhere. You're going to have to wait until a Pokemon's knocked out to use that Raihan.
Yeah, maybe we could have seen something like an Ultra Ball, send the hand down to grab that B-Barrel and draw some cards, but just going for the direct route here, no trying to hope and draw those cards later. You got that double turbo and the switch. Arceus now can Trinity Nova. Won't be able to take the knockout, 180 damage, but gets the charge up to that Gengar at least. But 140 damage on that Gengar, I don't think it's going to stick around for too long.
A little surprised to not see an additional energy. I was thinking maybe you just start to work that in just in case you want to use that Hyper Potion once or twice. Twice would be later, obviously. We don't care about 20 damage.
4 cards in hand for Drew. I think they're just making sure everything's good.
Alright, so I believe that just the cut wasn't warranted at that point, so they tried to make sure that it went back to the original spot. But that should be fine.